Hello, I'm Mark,
I'm Casey.
And I'm Patrick.
and today we're going to talk a little bit about RoboTaxi and where it's coming, when it's coming, and what to expect. But first, we're going to roll that title.
You're in a Johnny Cab.
You're watching the Tesla Life Express.
I love that comment, the Johnny Cab. That just, every time I see that old movie, that just makes me laugh to see the Johnny Cab. But not quite the Johnny Cabs coming to Austin, Texas. But as far as Tesla has told us, the regulatory hurdles have been cleared for Austin for June of 2025. So that is this summer. It's coming quickly. We're already into our second month of the year. So basically looking at 4 months from now, they're planning on launching the RoboTaxi in that city. Might be part of, obviously the Cybercab is going to play a role in that. We've seen the Cybercab roaming the private streets of Giga, Texas, and they have been testing it with and without drivers in them. And this is not a surprise that, of course, the home city of Austin is probably where they wanted to start anyways, because it's very close to headquarters, and that makes perfect sense. But
and you're right, team with all the compute and engineering and everything.
Yeah, but I guess some of the things that is going to be done is that on the launch of this in June, we believe that Tesla is going to hold this really tight to the vest. They have a lot to possibly lose with bad PR on a rollout of this type, because of course the eyes of the world and the stock market are going to be on them, because of course they've been touting that FSD is getting close to being complete, and they've been saying for quite some time that it's going to be able to handle the role of an automatic cab. It's going to be able to handle it a lot better than anyone else because of the vision system and FSD behind it. And definitely the world's going to be watching as those cabs start to roll out in June. Tesla's also indicated that people that own Wise, probably hardware 4, are going to be able to be enrolled in this. They'll be able to assign their cab, their personal vehicle, to become a RoboCab through the app that Tesla has created and is certainly massaging that app, making sure that all the bells and whistles work correctly. But I have a feeling that in the extremely early days of June, I don't think anybody that is not an actual cyber cab is going to be involved in this for some time, because as we mentioned, Tesla probably is going to be very cautious as to how this program starts and what they're seeing. Casey.
So I suspect what we're going to see June, there might be an announcement, like a little tweet. That's it, and then we'll learn nothing about it until September.
So you're saying you believe they're going to be late, is what you're saying?
If they're on time, assuming June, then I suspect they're going to just run it with their approval, and then not tell us how it went till September. It's like, hey, look, we had 8 million.
But if there are people that are getting in the cars, you're going to see all kinds of social media
videos
about it.
And
people
social media and film stories, news stories. They're not going to be able to stop it, because they're going to be picking up real people, right? So those people will do, since they don't have to concentrate on the road, they're going to be filming it. There's going to be idiots that are going to jump in front of the thing. Like that kind of thing is going to happen, I'm sure.
But I contend that unless they do a launch, then Tesla's going to do like they do with some of these products and be like, just pretend it never happened. Like it doesn't exist. Like meanwhile, you see them on the street, you see the videos, and like
so
blinders.
Mark, I agree with your point on. I don't think your people are going to be able to opt their cars in anytime soon. I think Tesla wants to. Well, they're already doing some of this with employees now, right? So that's their test vehicles, their beta testers.
Oh,
Is they
wait,
have.
clarify. You're saying the employee safety drivers in either Tesla or their own cars.
Oh no, I mean Tesla employees that can actually hail
Oh,
a Tesla vehicle
and
to come pick them up today. And I think there's some of that happening in Austin. So if you want to go to work at the Gigafactory Austin, you can hail a taxi, a cybercab, or a RoboTaxi, I should say, because they're probably Model Ys today that are actually doing this. And so you can get to work using that. So then in June, it rolls out to a wider audience, and then people can start participating. And then right now, my guess is that those vehicles are 100% monitored remotely. So they have a person dedicated to watching that vehicle, seeing its camera feeds, making sure that it's doing what it's supposed to. If it gets stuck, they can tell it, "Hey, take this route," and maybe even remotely control it if needed.
like
So
a
that's why
one
you do a gradual rollout, so you can have. And we saw this with Optimus, right? So when they had their event recently, all the Optimists, they had people that could control them, people that could speak for them. When the drinks were being served and bags were being handed out and things, they had people that were there making sure it did exactly what it was supposed to. And if it got stuck, they could fix it. So as your
they were
software improves, that monitoring time can reduce, right? So initially 100% monitoring. Then every time that there's an intervention that happens by a Tesla employee to fix something, that's going to go into their training system. So then you can get to where someone can monitor 2 vehicles and 3 vehicles and then 4 vehicles. And that's when you can start having a smaller monitoring team, or you have the same monitoring team. You might even be growing it because the number of vehicles is growing faster than the monitoring time.
Yeah,
So
right.
that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
And not until you have very few interventions will you actually allow other people to put their Teslas in, because the whole insurance dynamic changes when it's not a car that's owned by Tesla. If Tesla owns it and it gets into an accident, they certainly have the liability for whatever happened, but replacing the vehicle is easy. They just pull another one off the factory and replace it.
Yeah. Versus, having to explain to you why your Model Y is out and why it's only worth
Exactly.
much, even though you got all this stuff on it.
Right. Yeah. And then dealing with the insurance, if it's someone else's vehicle, is going to be a big pain. And obviously they'll work all that stuff out. One of the reasons they started an insurance company is because of this future that they saw coming, where they're going to have to be able to carry that liability. And if you own an insurance company, okay, now that's a whole lot easier to do. It's
Yeah, I
insured by
agree with
you when it's on your network and by the other people when it's not.
Exactly. And they're gonna need to work out a protocol because, like right now, if your Model Y is out there roaming for them and it gets into a crash, and you report it to your insurance company, they'll say, "Why are we insuring this empty car that was out in the streets, running commercial, no less?" Versus, they can say, "Hey, okay, no, we've got this. We've already handled this. Here's your claim number. Here's what's going to happen, and we'll walk you through it. Don't call your insurance company; they're going to bend you over." And so you
Right.
just be
Yeah.
very
And that's sort of the same protocol that's used if you're driving for Uber or Lyft. When you're on the clock for them, you don't file it under your own private insurance.
yeah.
Yeah,
It,
or
it,
you let them know and say, "Hey, this is what happened. I did this with Uber. Here's the claim number for Uber, um, if you need it." Because if you don't tell them, then they still get upset.
so it's yeah, I believe that it's just going to be them. And one clarification, Patrick, you talked about employees being able to summon a robo taxi now in Austin to get to the factory. Does that Has that happened? Is that a regular occurrence now, or was that something that's like I'm not seeing cyber cabs doing that, right? These are probably
Right.
Model Ys,
Correct.
so they're certainly nondescript in today's world, as opposed to a gold cyber cab. I think that would draw attention pretty
Right.
quickly if they were driving the streets of Austin.
Versus yet
Yes.
another Model Y in Austin.
And they certainly are going to be doing. I mean, the cybercab has been revealed. They have to get the production lines going for it. I think the 10 or so that were built for the event were all done at the design center. So that's not high volume manufacturing by any means. So yeah, but it is that it's the crawl, walk, run, right? And so for Cyber Cab right now, they're at the crawl stage, and same with RoboTaxi. It's at that early stages where you expect there to be problems, and you are gonna, every time you find one, you solve it.
Yep.
Now, one of the things that we talked about pre-show was about maybe a customer, a cab rider, wanting the ability to stop the cab for whatever reason. They believe that they're in danger. They believe the cab isn't acting properly, whatever. They want to be able to press some sort of a button to stop the cab, to allow them to leave the cab if they wish to.
And you're talking about the gold one here, the 2 seats, no steering wheel.
Well, that's a good point, Casey. Does that also move to the Y as well? You know, they're going to want the same ability whether they're in a gold cab or they're in someone's Y that's been loaned to the network. They're going to want that ability. Now, you know, the cab's got a large screen. There could be some sort of a button, I guess, that appears on the screen that you could press. And if you're in the cab, it'd be very easy to press because, of course, there's only a front seat and you're in front of that 20-inch screen. So it would be accessible.
It does have the emergency stop and the ride now button on the screen, as well as what we're about to talk about.
And if the vehicle was to have some sort of an ability to stop by pressing something, Tesla would probably want, once that button was depressed, the vehicle pulls over safely, probably turns on the hazard lights, and then remotely sends a signal to the mothership that this cab has been stopped by the occupant, and they need to look into this immediately. So certainly, when we saw FSD, when it would have a problem because the human was not interacting with the system, remember how you get the nags, and then eventually the vehicle would pull over to the side of the road and put on the hazards. Probably the same thing would happen if a ride occupant was to want to stop. It kind of makes sense that they would do the same thing.
Yeah, and so what that differs from the screen versus this emergency is on the screen it was just kind of like, yeah, changed my mind. I see a sale on burgers or pizza. Let's stop right here, and then it pulls over, lets you out. During the Robo event, that would have been, got you kicked out of the event because it wasn't what they wanted you to do.
Yeah.
The differentiation between what we're talking about there and that button is on this one. There's something wrong with the car, something wrong with you, something wrong. Here, you hit the hazard button. It does the same thing as the big red button you get on the prototypes, and turns on the flashers, summons somebody come get you, come get it. Versus if you just try to get out, then once you're out, then the car could continue being a cyber taxi.
And I have a feeling we'll see those type of things early based on how quickly this thing rolls out. Like if in June it's really cautious that they put out maybe 7 vehicles total, and they're watching those 7 all the time, and people are told, and it probably won't be. It'll probably be employees, as Patrick has mentioned in the beginning. The very early one will be summon the car to go to the factory or summon the car to go home, and that type of thing. Because if we've learned anything with Tesla and new equipment, is that they allow the employees to be the first guinea pigs. They're letting them try it. They're letting them experience it, and then they're of course collecting all the data that happens and making sure it's following the path that they wanted the software to follow.
Yeah, Musk has been a big fan of Microsoft most of his life, and so dog fooding comes naturally to him and his companies, where what that is you eat your own dog food. So legend is this dog food company would send you home with samples and you would eat it with your family, or I guess the reality would have been you would give it to your dog. And so then the same thing with software. You go home, try it on your computer. If it crashes, oh well, you broke your computer. You didn't break 9 million customers' computers. and so it's the same thing with this. Hey, whoops, we crashed one of our cars, but we didn't crash 600 customer cars on one Saturday.
Yeah. So this is exciting times. Like I said, we're about 4 months away. It will be interesting to see if they're on time, if they start to publicize this, or if it's going to be a soft, quiet launch with employees, and they'll probably not. But of course, even if they do a quiet, soft launch, if any of those gold cars go off of the site of Giga Texas, there'll be a fleet of drones following it. So it's not like we're not going to see this happen. It's going to be pretty obvious when the first cybercab leaves the protective pen of the private roads at Giga Texas. It's definitely going to be noticed by the drone army.
Do you think they're going to do NDAs for the first non-employee riders?
That would be interesting too. Are you in the, when you sign up for the app, is there some sort of a legalese in the details of the thing that everyone agrees to without reading that says that you're not able to sue them or something?
Right, and they've got some pretty high-powered lawyers. So I wouldn't be surprised to see if they did it low-key like that. If we end up seeing some videos get on X or YouTube or whatever, and they get deleted, and then the person's still like grumbling, "Oh, my life is over. I shared a video of the cybercab."
Yeah, you might not want to do that if you don't want to get on. You might not be able to ride in it again if you post some disparaging video about it.
That too, yeah, because even if they don't block you from talking about it, they have done that.
Once that app is available to the public, I'm sure many people are going to screenshot the small print and comb through it to look for these little nuggets of information based on what Tesla wants you to agree to. So you out there, if you've got some predictions as to how the cybercab or RoboTaxi is going to roll out that may differ from ours, please put it in the comments. Let us know what you think is going to happen in June, or if you think it's going to happen in June. We'd be interested to hear from you as to what you believe is going to be happening in this momentous rollout of an automated taxi fleet.
I'm actually really excited about this, just because this is going to be a big change in human history. I mean, the fact that you can have these cars driving around by themselves, it's like the future's finally here. And, at some point I won't be able to drive, 20 years from now. And I'm glad that the technology will be working and I'll still have mobility options. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a huge plus for people out there that have mobility options, is to lower the cost of driving around and getting to appointments or doing the things that you want to do when you want to do them. It will certainly be a positive for anybody that has mobility issues, for sure.
Right. Yeah. If you're visually impaired or you have seizures, or there's lots of reasons that if you just want to go out in the town and you want to have some drinks, okay, well, don't drink and drive, drink and call a cab. Well, hey, what happened to cybercab?
Exactly.
And then you don't have that conundrum for the medical or age issues. You don't have the conundrum of like, oh man, how do I get my kids to come over for the weekend, or hey, how do I budget for this in-house help plus driver?
Yeah, this is awesome.
With that, I think we'll wrap it. Casey, any shoutouts?
Yeah. So catch us in 2 days on the Tesla Life Express Live, number 398 on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, right here. Same time, same place.
Exactly. Patrick?
Yes. As always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and I blog at carswithcords.net, where I had this exact stuff in my predictions for Tesla for 2025. This was number 3 on my list. So if you want to see what else, go check it out at carswithcords.net, where I write about my future free from fossil fuels. Thank you.
Got it in. Fantastic. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Again, give us a thumbs up, press that subscribe, and we'll catch you next time and find out what's happening together in the Tesla Life.